Tikal is one of the largest archaeological sites and urban centers of the pre-Columbian Mayan civilization. It is our 8th stop in the series Journeys to Discovery. Located in the archaeological region of the Peten Basin in northern Guatemala, this thriving cosmopolitan city would be rediscovered in the mid-19th century. It had been completely covered by the jungle for centuries. Tikal is situated in the department of El Peten. Today, the site is part of Guatemala's Tikal National Park and as of 1979, was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Tikal was the capital city of one of the most powerful kingdoms of the ancient Mayan civilization. Although there is impressive architectural structures that can be dated as far back as the 4th century BCE, Tikal would reach the height of its power and influence during the centuries stretching from 200 to 900 CE. During this era known as the Classical period, Tikal would come to dominate the region of the Maya. Economically, politically and militarily, Tikal had become the head of a conquest state. The number of inhabitants would swell to as high as 90,000 by some estimates. If one includes the surrounding hinterland, the population reached well into the hundreds of thousands. The rise in population is quite impressive, considering the area surrounding the city is covered in swamplands. Interactions between Tikal and the rest of Mesoamerica became more commonplace, as the power of the Mayan reached its zenith. Regular contacts were maintained with the Valley of Mexico as far north as Teotihuacan. In fact, there is evidence the latter would actually conquer Tikal in the 4th century CE. After the late Classical period, no new major monuments would be constructed at Tikal. Around this epoch, it is likely that a number of the aristocratic palaces and temples would be desecrated and later burned. By this time, the population was already gradually diminishing, with final abandonment taking place by the end of the 10th century. In the modern era, the city has been completely mapped and it has been determined that it once covered an area of 6.2 square miles, 16 square kilometers. Within the main city about 3,000 buildings were constructed, over hundreds of years. The structures were built on a series of limestone ridges rising above numerous swampy lowlands. These built-up areas remain connected by a series of causeways that spanned over the wetlands. Major construction at Tikal was already underway, in the late pre-Classic period during 400 to 300 BCE. The first leading pyramids and platforms would be built at this time. Although Tikal was still far smaller than El Mirador and Nac, these northern neighbors would decline in the 1st century CE. It is interesting to note that Tikal had no real water supply, other than what was collected from rainwater.